Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a really important exploration. We're looking deep into the Kenya Wantam Notam movement, or KWM. We're using insights directly from their online forum, The Mission, to really unpack what KWM is, what it stands for, its core message, and importantly, the resources it offers. Resources designed to promote informed civic engagement right there in Kenya.
That's right. And KWM, well, it presents itself as this force for empowerment, helping citizens through knowledge and really crucially through their vote.
Yeah, you feel that energy immediately. There's a very clear call to action you see right on their forum, a kind of declaration. It says, notice to current all future presidents, cabinet, parliament, county leaders, skis awaken you skis aground, or be impeached, be kicked out by our votes, even before Dobium ends.
Wow, that's quite a statement.
It is. And just for clarity, skis awaken you skis aground basically means, listen, Kenyans, pay attention to what's happening on the ground. And one tam, that's their first term in office. So it's a very direct, unambiguous demand for accountability, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It sets a strong tone. It implies leaders really need to connect with and respond to the actual experiences of citizens, or, well, face the electoral consequences.
Exactly.
And what's fascinating, as you said, is how they aim to build that informed citizenry. It's not just making demands, it's about giving people direct access to vital info. Like, what are the constitutional roles of the government? This deep dive should really help you, the listener, grasp those foundational aspects KWM is putting out there, showing how they equip you to understand what your leaders are actually mandated to do, going beyond just general feelings to like concrete constitutional duties.
Okay, so let's dig into that KWM platform and its wider vision then. When you land on the KWM website, you notice it's pretty diverse, well organized too. It's definitely more than just a forum. You've got the standard stuff, home, the main forum, but then this really prominent section, join the movement, your vote, your power. Mungu ilete baraka kwetu haki iwe noa na mlinzi.
Which translates to, may God bring blessings to us, may justice be our shield and protector. A powerful invocation alongside the call to action.
Right, and then there's members, recent posts, even their own Wantam Notam podcast.
Yeah.
But what really stood out to me were the, let's say, more practical resources. Beyond just registering for discussions, they offer things like a Remedify coaching program.
Yeah.
And free ebooks by ebooks, even a guide on how to start your own business. That seems, well, quite a unique mix for a civic movement, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And I think that gives us a really crucial insight into KWM's whole philosophy, that join the movement, your vote, your power part is clearly central. It's all about citizen empowerment, accountability, using democratic tools. But when you add in things like coaching or business guides, it points to a more maybe holistic view.
Holistic how?
Well, KWM seems to understand that, economic empowerment can often be tangled up with effective civic participation. If people are struggling just to get by, their capacity to dive deep into national issues or even just get out to vote might be limited.
Makes sense.
So by offering resources for personal growth, for economic upliftment, KWM seems to be building this foundation of resilience, of capability, empowering citizens not just politically but personally too, which then, strengthens their ability to act civically. It's about creating an informed and a resourced citizenry.
That's a really powerful way to put it. It's not just informing people, it's equipping them, giving them tools for potentially a better life, which then fuels their ability to demand better from their leaders.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've seen this comprehensive platform. Now let's get into the bedrock of their empowerment strategy, understanding the government's actual obligations under the Constitution.
Exactly. This is a cornerstone of the KWM platform, and really it's key to their whole mission of informed civic engagement. They've put together this meticulous list of national government rules, and it's not just pulled out of thin air. It's explicitly grounded in the Constitution of Kenya, 2010. They reference the fourth schedule, Article 186. And understanding these roles, it isn't just academic. It's absolutely fundamental for you as a citizen to hold leaders accountable, to participate meaningfully. Think about it. If you don't know what your government is constitutionally supposed to be doing, how can you effectively question its performance or push for specific changes? This framework gives you that precise lens, the lens to really analyze governance properly.
Okay, so let's not just read a long list. How does KWM help people use this constitutional knowledge? Like in everyday discussions, it seems they break down these complex functions into, well, understandable benchmarks. Maybe we can group some of them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Thinking in themes helps. KWM seems to emphasize this too. So one huge area is definitely economic foundations and financial stability.
Okay.
This covers things like currency and monetary policy. The national government oversees the whole financial system, the central bank, issuing currencies, setting interest rates, controlling inflation, managing foreign exchange, all that. It directly impacts the economic stability in your pocket right now. And tied to that is national economic planning and policy, basically setting the country's economic direction, national development goals, guiding fiscal policy, the big picture stuff.
And the one everyone feels, taxation and national revenue collection. Through the KRA, the Kenya Revenue Authority, the government collects income tax, VAT, excise, customs duty, all vital for funding projects, managing debt. KWM's angle here seems to be empowering you to understand where that tax money is constitutionally meant to go, beyond just paying it.
Exactly. So for instance, on the KWM forum, a debate about, say, a new fuel levy might get directly connected to the government's constitutional responsibility for transport and communication infrastructure, building and maintaining national roads, railways.
I see.
So citizens on the forum can then ask really targeted, informed questions like, okay, this fuel levy is for roads, so why are these specific roads still falling apart after 2 years?
It shifts the conversation from just general frustration.
She's something specific and constitutionally grounded. That is powerful.
It really is. Makes the theoretical actionable. Okay, what's another major pillar KWM highlights?
Another critical one is justice, security, and public order. This is huge. It includes defense and national security, controlling the KDF, the Kenya Defense Forces, the NIS, National Intelligence Service, border protection, overall defense strategy.
National level security.
Right. And then impacting daily life much more directly, there's national policing and internal security. That means running the National Police Service, the DCI Directorate of Criminal Investigations, maintaining law and order.
Okay.
KWM's forums often link this constitutional mandate to real-world issues, public safety concerns, maybe perceptions of injustice. So users might analyze police actions and specific incidents against their constitutional duties, or question how resources are allocated for security. It all comes back to accountability.
And don't forget the judiciary and national courts. Managing the whole system, Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, high courts. KWM often seems to focus on how a transparent, efficient judiciary is just fundamental, upholding the Constitution, ensuring justice.
Exactly. People might ask, is the government adequately funding the judiciary? Are they ensuring fair, timely trials like the Constitution demands? Informed questions.
Makes sense. What about social aspects?
Good point. The final big theme KWM emphasizes is social services and environmental stewardship. This covers critical areas like national health policy and tertiary hospitals, policies on diseases, vaccination programs, managing the big national hospitals. It touches everyone's well-being.
And for the future, education policy in universities. Managing standards, curriculum, teacher training, national exams, overseeing universities. KWM really seems to stress the government's commitment here. You see discussions linking budget allocations to constitutional promises on quality education.
Definitely. And preserving Kenya's heritage environment and natural resources management. Policies on forests, vital water catchments, wildlife protection, managing national parks like Masai Mara or Tsavo. It's about sustainability, ensuring resources benefit everyone. KWM helps people connect, say, illegal logging directly to the government's constitutional duty to protect those resources, sparking accountability discussions.
So let's pause there. What does all this mean for you, the listener, the citizen? This detailed breakdown of constitutional roles, organized maybe thematically like we just did as KWM presents it, it gives you a clear, actionable benchmark, a way to evaluate government performance that moves beyond just vague promises.
Right. It moves into concrete responsibilities, which then raises that important question for you listening. How do you actually use this knowledge? How do you engage meaningfully with leaders, demand accountability based on these specific constitutional mandates? It really changes the whole nature of the conversation, doesn't it? From general complaints to informed, targeted advocacy.
And this is where KWM seems to really bring it all together, fostering that citizen discourse, that engagement. The KWM forum, it's not just static information, it feels alive. Active discussions reflecting the national pulse. You see topics like, join the movement today, let's help change Kenya, Tuko Pamoja. That's a clear invitation to participate, to unite.
Yeah, very direct.
And then you get these really bold, critical questions, like what has the national government actually delivered since 2010? Let's ask real questions.
Yeah.
That really highlights the proactive, questioning nature of the community there.
And the value of platforms like this, well, it can't really be overstated, can it? They allow for collective questioning, sharing diverse perspectives on how things are actually run. It takes individual concerns, puts them in a shared space, creates a potentially much more powerful collective voice. It's where that theoretical understanding of constitutional roles meets the messy, practical realities of governance.
Looking at the recent posts section really gives you a feel for the current conversations, just from July 10th and 11th, 2025. The titles are very direct. For example, what kind of president tells security forces to shoot youth? It's time for a change. Or why Moses Kuria's resignation is a deceptive political maneuver. Gen Z, don't fall for it.
Strong titles.
Very. And others like Kenya's politicians, the hypocrisy behind their church visits, and Ruto's hypocrisy, why his KSH 1.2B church is a monument to corruption, and KSH 1.2B, that's 1.2 billion Kenyan shillings.
Okay, so these titles coming straight from the forum, they definitely show the range, the intensity of the critical conversations happening in the KWM community. They're reflecting real-time discussions about current political events, leadership behavior, accountability, and importantly, it shows citizens actively discussing things they perceive as issues and connecting them back potentially to their understanding of government roles, ethical conduct. They're using the platform to have these public discussions, share their views. For example, that discussion titled Ruto's hypocrisy, it might link back to the constitutional mandate for, say, national economic planning and policy, prompting questions about how public funds are seen to be managed versus private spending. It shows how KWM facilitates translating that constitutional knowledge into real-world civic commentary.
It's genuinely fascinating how these discussions, whether they are critical or maybe sometimes celebratory of certain actions, how they all contribute to a more vibrant, a more engaged citizenry, shaping the national dialogue, holding leaders accountable, encouraging reflection. Okay, so we've covered a fair bit today. KWM's platform blending civic education with personal empowerment tools, its deep dive into constitutional roles, and how its forum fosters these robust, often challenging discussions on accountability.
Yeah.
The movement really seems focused on empowering you, the citizen, with knowledge and a platform for change.
And remember that knowledge really is power. Active participation, it can lead to tangible change. Your insights, your questions, your voice, they are crucial.
So this seems like a good point for that call to action. We really encourage you to become part of this ongoing conversation, this impactful movement. To join in, share your own insights. Visit www.onehamnotam.com. Create your account. Start sharing ideas that could help change your village, your city, your nation.
Definitely worth checking out if this resonates with you.
So just to quickly recap our deep dive today, we saw KWM's clear vision, empowering citizens through understanding constitutional government roles. And by fostering these robust, often critical discussions about accountability, it's about giving you the tools to be an informed, active participant in Kenya's future, moving beyond just voting towards demanding transparency and performance.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, maybe leave you with a final thought. It raises an interesting question for you, doesn't it? What responsibility do you feel you have as an informed citizen? How do you engage? How do you contribute to the ongoing conversation about your nation's governance? Beyond just casting that vote every few years, how can truly understanding these governmental roles empower your own civic participation, maybe in ways you haven't thought about before? How does it change you from perhaps a passive observer into an active shaper of your society? Something to mull over.
A powerful question indeed. And once more, to join the movement, to share your insights, the place to go is www.onehamnotam.com. Create your account and start shaping the future of your village, city, and nation. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive, and thank you for listening to the Kenya Wantam No Tam Movement KWM podcast.